It's that time of the week where the hottest Kenyan millennials jazz up your afternoon with their refreshing live talk show. You are now tuned in to the 254 Millennial Talk.
Okay, we are live. Okay. So it's Namaka guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of the 254 Millennial Talk. Hopefully your week has been fine. Hopefully kila kitu iko sawa penye uko. Yes. So I don't think I have anything else to say. Other than today we're talking about game development, and it's obvious we have new guest on the show, some former colleagues of mine, work colleagues, some good friends of mine who are game devs. Mnaweza jiongea Mr. Arnold and Tevin.
Hi everyone, Arnold here, game developer at G.
Una cut out
Just a brief
kidogo.
introduction there.
Una cut out kidogo.
Sorry. Yes, Arnold, game developer at GW Studios.
Okay. Tevin.
Naitwa Telvin, pia mi ni game developer at GW Studios. Huwa tunawak na Arnold na tulikuwa tunawak na wewe pia.
Yeah,
happy to be here.
And our usual co-hosts, Two Sugars No Milk. Two Sugars, kwapa.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Come watch the stream. Can you tell me if the audio is fine? If the stream is okay? Anyone watching the stream? It's an MBA, whether everything is running fine. So as someone checks the stream, be sure to check out our show. Also on Twitch. Remember, we are not only streaming on YouTube, we are also live on Twitch as we speak. So it's both YouTube and Twitch. And be sure to, if you want to be Radson. Okay, nice. Okay, thanks Radson. It's another friend of mine. So if you want to be a part of our community, just make sure you join our Discord server. The links are in the description box. So yes, so let's get on with the topic. Okay, see. Just give me a sec. Fixing something. Okay, so game development. I assume most people use Discord play games. No, I assume. Okay, that's what my assumption is. But as Arnold and Tevin have told you, in case you did not know, yes, I also used to be. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a game dev, but I used to work in that. Like what I did in college or what I do is related to gaming, mostly on the design side. But because I think when we talk about game development, there's a lot of things we need to break down. I don't know, Tevin, can you break down like when you're talking about game development, what exactly do we where do you start and where do you end?
Sawa. Dev involves a lot. Even I think that's why game development is challenging, because it involves so many fields. It involves kuna sound, kuna art, kuna coding, kuna nini ingine nimesahau, kuna VFX. Yeah, hizo ndio the major ones, but I'm sure nimesahau zingine. Sijui kama Arnold anaweza sema kama nimesahau zingine.
I think those are the major ones, but it just comes along with any other type of job. It's just the whole managing the team, dividing tasks. So having a lot to do and having to manage all that is also quite challenging.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah,
it's,
kuna
it's
narrative nilikuwa nimesahau.
yeah, by
Yeah,
the
kuna
way.
hizo kuride and pia acting, like ina involve so much, especially if you're doing like, if you're trying to do a triple A,
A triple A game.
inaweza involve everything. Triple A game
So a triple A
inaweza
in this
involve like,
case, a good example is like GTA 5, The Witcher, Cyberpunk. Those are the big ones, the very very big ones. So those are that is what we mean when we say triple A games. But the interesting thing is, like game dev is like making a movie, like a big budget movie, The bigger the movie, the more complex it is, And it's funny that some of the processes that involves game development, you also find them in filmmaking. Things like coming up with a story, coming up with a storyboard, acting, VFX. But I don't think game VFX is similar to the VFX in movies. I assume when you say VFX in games, it means something different. It's things like fire, I think, like simulations, water.
yeah,
Yeah.
simulation na tuseme tu like
Mm-hmm.
vitu kama blood,
Particle
hizo
effects.
simulation,
Oh,
particle
okay.
effects, yeah.
Yeah. So I think those in movies, VFX means a lot of things, green screen, I don't know, stunts and all this stuff. But for me, like the department I used to work in was animation. So I'm a 3D animator and I use Maya, but there's a lot of programs out there that are very good, especially one free one is Blender. But I used to work in Maya as a 3D animator, character rigger, character modeler. Just as a 3D generalist, I mostly like know a lot of things related to 3D. So that was my department. Arnold, I think Arnold, you are the programmers, no, and the or
I
something.
think me and Talvin were basically doing
You are doing
everything apart from art
uh-huh.
and the animation, I guess. Ama Talvin, what is that? I think that's right. Ama, what do you think?
Yes, that's right. Arnold and I were just involved in everything
Mm-hmm.
apart from art and animation and sound.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
tukitoa hizo, yeah, bas. But hiyo inakuwa tu like role tu ya game developer. Like
Mm-hmm.
you are usually involved in everything. Na unafaa kuelewa how everything works. Hata kama sigusi animation, najua wewe utakuja utanipatia animation na mimi nitakuja ni integrate kwa game.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. But
Yeah.
now we will get into the details of game devs, but generally we want to like talk about gaming and game development specifically in relation to Kenya. Like, what do you guys feel? Do you feel like game devs or game development is something that is picking up? Do you feel like it's something that needs more attention? It needs to be taught in schools. Like, what's your general attitude in terms of game development in the country right now?
It's definitely picking up. You see here and there, like off the stream, we're talking about stuff like ADMI, teaching some sort of course on game development. Yeah, sure, it's popping up here and there, but it's very difficult because depending on your target demographic, let's say it's actually in Kenya, like the same thing with music and with music that's made in the country, it's very difficult. I don't know whether it's our culture or what, but it's very difficult for people to buy local things. So that whole dynamic is what one of the few things that, not one of the few, one of the many things that seems to be holding it back from just going a lot.
Yeah, I would say, but that's something, and I think I would tie that to. There was a time we were talking with like gaming. There was a topic about gaming. I think I will tie that to like the culture of our parents had this belief that white collar jobs were everything, but now that they are older, most of them have retired, and it's the younger people who are working. the younger people are more we are more open to new career ideas. We are not only less restricted to, like, if someone tells me they are an artist, I take them seriously, just as the same as if someone tells me they are a banker, right? I take them both seriously. Like, it's something that most of us young people are open to. But in terms of like our parents or the people who came before us, I don't think they had this mindset. And I think because of them, like, that mindset of white collar jobs are everything, you find that a lot of creative industries have really struggled. And music has picked up, and I can see also movies are picking up. People are starting to get into serious productions, things like Crime and Justice. I watched it on Showmax. Very good production quality. Story can be improved, but very good. But I hope, and it's my hope, that gaming will get there, that gaming will start to be taken seriously now that gaming has become popular. Every fucking e-girl on the internet wants to be a fucking streamer. So I hope that will really motivate people to look into gaming as a career in terms of game development. Tevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. And also there is this aspect, yeah. Let's say even investors.
Yeah.
Let's say you want investors to like unaongelesha investors unawaambia, Amy, I want to develop this type of game. Such their gaming they take long. They take so fucking long to make. Like, see, kama, okay, they take long. I think any creative work takes a bit of time.
Yep.
Yeah. But so kendo waleze say investor show, hey man, this game will take, because like a game usually takes 2 years to develop if it's like a big game that you're envisioning. It usually takes like at least 2 years to develop.
Even two is kidogo.
Two is very small. Hey, say GTA Red Dead Redemption almost took 7 years. God damn.
Nasema hata huku Kenya ukiambia msee 2 years
anasikia.
No,
there's no fucking way at you. Yeah.
Na hiyo ndo the minimum. Na hiyo ndo the minimum. Ushaambia no fucking way. So like hapana. But I think that drive many developers to do mobile games, which take like I think you take 6 months, at least 6 months to develop, or less, if I'm not wrong. But unaona, like Kenya, we can't. If we try to challenge ourselves to develop AAA games, ni ngumu sana, because investors wataki to put in the time. Wanaona, hey manze, that's too long. Na unajua with gaming, you never know. Kitu inaweza make do ama iseme to hell with it. Because gaming is another aspect where even if you invest, like, you can invest millions and millions and then upate you make do.
Yeah.
Inakonga tu risk on its own. Yeah, but hizo challenges ndio I think sasa tukiendelea tu hivi the way we are growing, I think watu wataanza kuelewa the like development za games. Sasa kishaelewa hivyo, wajua it's a big risk but they're willing to take it. I think go far.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think to back up your point, I think we need more passionate individuals who have an interest. Because for me, it's not that I'm against investing, but even someone who's a smart investor. Because I was watching like this interview of this rich African guy, this richest guy, the guy who deals with cement. I forgot his name. The richest African man. I'm trying to remember his name, but he was saying, like, invest in something you actually know. And I think, if you ask me, the problem or the reason as why maybe we are even facing issues in terms of funding, we find that the people who have money are not people who even know what gaming is, are not people who are actually interested. And I think, like, we need more passionate people. Like, if you're choosing to invest in creativity, I would say, like, there's a video of Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban said, when you invest in something, you better assume that money has just dipped. Like, don't expect something to Like, if you're investing in something you love, just expect that there's a high possibility you'll make a loss, right? And we need more people who reason like that, and not people who get in it for the money. Because obviously, bills need to be paid and all that, and we are not against that. But I feel like if we had as an industry, and that's something that even affects music, movies. You even find that the movies we do are only about love. You never find someone making a movie about Avengers or something. You see, it's the more predictable stuff, right? And more often or not, it's because people are lacking funding. People don't have enough knowledge of what goes on. So before you choose, or before as an investor maybe you're interested, I will say, like, try and do more research into what gaming entails, into what game development entails. And as Kenyans, let's stop this mentality or behavior of always being in a rush. Because I think, like, some industries, if you rush them, you'll just get a poor product, like a poor end result. And creativity and entertainment is one of those things. If you rush things, you find that the creativity or the passion needed to complete that project and make it, like, good, you'll find that it will suffer, right? And there's a reason as to why, like, Rockstar games will take 7 years making a fucking game. Because I mean, GTA 5, if you go right now on Twitch, is still on the top most watched games. And this is a game that was released in 2013. But the game is so fucking entertaining because when you actually play the game, you feel like the devs really put passion into this. So I'll maybe ask, and this is why we're even talking about game development today, to raise more awareness on what game development is, so that you out there, maybe, you're interested in investing, or you're interested in starting a game company, you can actually know what you're getting yourself into. So in terms of, like, game development in Kenya, do you guys have any other point to add? Maybe we can move on now to the technical stuff. I just wanted to get that off my chest. You guys don't have anything? Okay, I can see now.
No. You covered most of it, yeah.
Yeah. So, game development, right? So let's get into the technicalities of what you need to know if you want to be a game dev in Kenya. So first of all, I'll start by saying you don't need to have gone to school to actually be good in game development. Okay? Maybe programming, yeah, it's more better if you are taught by someone, programming, which is a very key thing in game development. But in terms of design and all these things, you actually don't need to have gone to school. Creativity in general is one of those fields where your art or your work speaks for you, not your papers. Am I wrong, Tevin or Arnold?
No, you're completely right. Hata programming uende shule hata hiyo. Like, here programming is a creative process. They do like a way to solve problems. Yeah. Like, hizo zote, like, game development don't need school. They don't need school. But if the only thing that school might help is to create community ya game developers, commit wase.
Yeah.
Because you learn a lot from others. Because you unaweza jifunza hapo hivi and the way you're doing stuff is not the industry
correct way.
Today hizo pia like say use idea pia.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But the good thing with school is that it enables you to, like, meet other people and form a community. You never know. You can even, form a project. Like me and Akina Tevin, if you were to sit down and decide to form something, we can. And that's like, but that's because we were working them. But I'm just using that as an example to show you that it can also be the same case. Because in school, you'll actually learn your weaknesses, your strengths, and your weaknesses may be someone else's strength. For me, I'm not good with programming, but I'm good with animation. So, and that is why, like, there's a whole pipeline. You'll always hear that terminology, pipeline. It's just like a flow chart of how work is flowing from one stage to the other. So I think maybe we can break down like the specific things maybe related to gaming, and I think maybe Tevin, maybe you can, or should I start? Where do we start? It's the story, right? When making a game.
Yeah, it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first step inakwanga to finding a good concept
Mm-hmm.
or just finding a concept. The idea, it starts with the idea. So,
Yeah, and concept doesn't really have to be story though.
Yeah.
unakuja
True. True that. Tevin unapotea kiasi. Arnold means when Arnold says
Yeah,
that
Arnold, continue.
concept doesn't have to be story. It just means like what type of a game or what type of like how do you structure your game to be like, what's the main idea behind the game? Is it to challenge yourself mentally? Is it to make levels that are so difficult to overcome, you know? So when we say concept, that is what exactly we mean. So but story is now bundled into that. It can be a story focused game, it can be a puzzle focused game, you know? It's all about like the initial idea as to what you want your game to be like, right?
Yeah, just what's the hook of it? What's going to interest people? The main thing. There could be other things, but what could be the main thing that's going to hook people into your project?
Okay. And I think because To Sugar's No Milk is in school, she can break down the different types of games she was told to research. To Sugar's,
Yeah.
can you like maybe give types of games that exists? Because we're ndoko shule, so you know.
I mean, the ones you mentioned, they're like, it's basically like more than 12 types, but the 12 listed down were just like simulator games, puzzles. I don't know. They're basically a lot. Like, what can I
Okay.
say?
Okay. So yeah, okay. So as she searches for that list, so basically it just means like, first of all you need to know what type of a game you need to make, right? So is it like a puzzle game? Is it a third person? That person being the camera sees you. You're like, you can see yourself, your full body. A good example, GTA 5. Is it a role playing game? Is it a first person? A good example, Apex Legends, Call of Duty. That's a first person game where you don't see yourself. You know, is it like these games like League of Legends? So what are those classified as? The ones that the camera is top down.
MOBAs. No. Okay, League of Legends are MOBA, but there's also top. They're top downs. So every MOBA could be a top down, but not every top down could be a MOBA.
Okay.
I'm not wrong, right, Alvin?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
To Sugars, have you found your list? Ama bado.
I just can't remember in my head what they have stated.
Okay. But generally, it first begins with that. What type of a game you want to make, right? So I would say, because there are so fucking many, and the first thing I would say that will help you a lot, it's not compulsory, but I mean, just play games. If you want to be a game dev, you actually have to have been playing games before for you to have an easier time picking and deciding what type of a game you want to make, because, you know, like not every game is for everybody. Arnold, wait, which games do you play by the way? Remind me, games like Limbo. Those games, what do you call those games? I'm trying to find the name.
2D games like Celeste, Hollow Knight.
Little Nightmares.
Indie games.
Little Nightmares.
Side scrollers.
Yeah, side scrollers. Yes, Izo.
I could say side scrollers. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, those kinds of games. But generally, you see, for me, I'm not a fan of those kinds of games. So for me, I play mostly like third person and first person shooters, right? So even when I'm even if you ask me generally what would I prefer to make for like as a game, I would probably prefer those, right? So this is what I'm saying, like, playing a couple of games will first of all help you. You can't be, this going back to my earlier point, you can't be invested in something and yet you don't know anything and you're not even making an effort to know what that thing entails, right? So Tevin, wait, you are I think you're also a fan of that, like third person games. Sekiro, you love the Dark Souls kind of games, eh?
I'm like Souls like, but like mostly single player experiences. I don't like multiplayer, just single player experiences, like with a good story. That's the only thing. Yeah.
And it's good you've even mentioned single player,
I think I only
multiplayer.
play triple A.
Triple A single player games.
Yeah, mi si mtu wa indie sana. Yeah, mostly. But nimeanza
Okay,
kutouch
so
on
I'm
indie
the
because of
indie guy,
Arnold.
yeah.
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 Yeah, Arnold by they he loves indie games a lot. Like, hey, those games you play, my guy. Oh my god, they're so difficult.
By the way, for sure.
Those games are nuts, man. Hey, and Tevin playing Sekiro, man. You guys, kwani mchokagi? Shinapo mkigrind. But yeah, so that's like the first thing.
Second is actually much easier.
Dark Souls is the hard one, eh?
Zote ni rahisi, like wamshajua vile zinawork, it becomes easier.
Okay. But yeah, man, so that's the first step, play a couple of games and then know. And then now the second step is, now for me it varies. It depends now whether do you want to make a 2D game or a 3D game. So 2D is flat. How can we describe 2D? Let me look the term 2D. Two-dimensional, yani it looks like a cartoon for the layman's explanation. What is a good example of a 2D game? Do you guys have a good example of a 2D game?
Terraria.
What?
Brawlhalla.
Sorry. Got me tune out show.
Brawlhalla is 2D, yeah.
Brawlhalla, yes,
it is.
Brawlhalla is 2D, but I've pulled up
Yeah.
an image on the screen. So these are 2D games. You see these things that look like yani you can't turn around the camera, in short. Those are examples of 2D games, and most 2D games you'll find like Nal had said, those side scrollers where you're moving from one level, like you're basically going in is it horizontal movement, I think, or you're moving like back and forth. You're not like exploring the environment as much. But there's also 2D games that are third person, if I'm not wrong. But I would assume those are mostly like the top down ones. But generally when we're talking about a 2D game, what you see on screen is what like I mean is an example of a 2D game. These graphics that look like cartoons. And then 3D is more like hizi vitu sasa mmezoea GTA 5, let me go back, GTA 5, Call of Duty, yani 3 dimension, 3 dimensions. Why is it saying, I say Google inapenda kusuggest some ish. So things that games mostly you can rotate, like you can actually see some dimension in the characters. So that will qualify as a 3D game. And there's also 2.5D, right? 2.5D, if I'm not wrong. 2.5D ni kama in hizo side nika side scroller. It's like a side scrolling game, but the characters are in 3D. Like, is Little Nightmares, can that qualify? Have you guys, Arnold, have you played that game?
I don't think that basically 2.5 you're in a 3D environment, but you're still locked into two axes, X and Y. Even though you're still in a 3D environment, you're still locked into XY.
Okay.
So kama inside
Ori.
and a bunch of others.
Ori
Yeah,
and
Ori, yeah, hizo sasa.
Okay.
Blind Forest.
I think Little Nightmares qualifies because you're also locked. You can't like move as much in terms of like you can only move back and forth. But your camera won't change. The camera angle won't change. Itabaki tu on the side. You should play it, but it's a good. It was given for free. I don't know if it's still free on Epic Games. But 2.5D, right? Like Arnold has explained, you're locked into the X and Y. So, and there's now 3D games and now 2D. So, first of all, you need to consider if you want to make any of those and trying to research what goes into making such games. So, for 3D games, it's pretty much obvious. You need to know 3D modeling, 3D animation, 3D character rigging. You know, a good software is Blender, Autodesk Maya, and I would say those are the two industry standards, or the ones that you will commonly find a lot of people using out here. So Blender and Autodesk Maya, and study those things I've said. So 3D modeling, 3D animation, 3D character rigging, and all that stuff. For 2D animation or for 2D games, you need to learn 2D animation. And I would say, Arnold, the software you had told me, I don't know, it's Spline. I'm on Spine. The one for animating 2D characters. Spine, yeah. That's a good example. Can Flash work? Flash,
yeah,
like
you can even
Adobe.
use Photoshop.
Oh, yeah.
You can even use it just depends on how you're going to bring it in. Is it the animations or just the sprites of the animation? So there are different methods. You can use different types of software.
Okay. But for 2.5D now, that will depend. It depends on both of it depends with those two. 2D, are you going like fully 2D or are you going like fully 3D but 2.5D, right? But I will say those are the things that you need to learn. So if you first of all make sure that you know those things: animation, 3D modeling, 2D character animation. And I would also say, if you're an artist, work on your skills in terms of character design, environment design, all of these things that you see your characters in the game are interacting with. Most of them, I would say, are put there by choice of the developers, right? And you can choose to specialize. By the way, there's people who actually do environmental design only, and they don't do like animation and all that. But you see, that can involve you drawing the environment and making it look realistic, or you modeling the environment. So I don't know, it depends. Mostly you'll find yourself, depending on the type of game you're playing, you might sometimes use images, sometimes you might find yourself actually using real 3D objects. But then I was to ask, because I was watching a speedrun of Doom. What are skyboxes? What are exactly skyboxes?
Skybox ni hiyo tu like vile ukiangalia, okay, they're dubbed differently in the different game engines, but it's just basically like inaitwaje, vile tu unaangalianga sky, unaona kuna sky, kuna clouds, kuna hizo. Ni hiyo tu an illusion of a sky. Yeah.
Will you say those are 2D images? Like the skyboxes?
Yes, they are 2D images, but
okay.
Yeah, the way they are put in a very complex way. Kuna kwanga na sky sphere, skybox. So like based on those shapes, they're put on like based on those shapes, and then paintiwa na ndani si na nje.
Okay.
So ukiwekanga characters umewekanga ndani ya hizo stuff, ndio wanaona hizo sky, wanaona clouds and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I was watching a speedrun of Doom and someone was glitching the F out of it, like he was going up hadi anapita skybox. I don't know, but that's the design side, that's the visual side. So for the programming and game engines, I'll now leave it to Tevin and Arnold to talk about that. So you guys, the floor is yours. Ian Martin anasema it seems there are few females in the industry. Yep, very true. Where it's complicated, you never see a lot of females, unfortunately. So
Excuse me, what?
yeah, it's the truth. If something is difficult, you'll never see a lot of females in terms of math. What? I'm just saying what. That's an
I think that's slowly changing.
No, yeah, it's
Yeah,
changing.
slowly.
It's changing,
Yeah.
but that's an observation. I'm saying
Yeah,
what I
sure.
see. So I'm not being like, oh, they don't know. I'm saying what I see. If it's an industry that is kind of difficult, you will never see a lot of females. So yes, Arnold and Tevin, you guys, you can talk about now the other stuff that is not design related.
Yeah, the next thing inakwanga tu kuchoose game engine. For me, I've been a lover of inaitwa Unreal Engine. I know
You should
formulate imekuwa
emphasize an
ikilate.
avid, a very enthusiastic user and lover of Unreal Engine.
I think mi nilianzanga tu nikiwa chuo vile tu nilionanga tu like I think nilianzanga na Unity nikacheza na Unity kiasi but then at that time nilikuwa na learn kufanya things in 2D. Sikuwa najua what I want as a developer, what I want, the type of games I want to make. So nilikuwa na experiment to kuona which one I will fall in love with. Nikaanza na kufanya na 2D na Unity, then niko like okay, this is not my thing. Then nika switch to Unreal and then fell in love, like from there onwards and upwards. Nika nishaipenda engine hivyo. Yeah. But uzuri ya nini natumianga kuna kwanga na visual scripting, so to sugars no milk inaweza kuwa a bit easier for you.
You're cutting out.
More of visual programming. See, lazima ujue kucode. Oh, just give me a second.
You were cutting out, but basically,
Saizi niko poa.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, but
Yeah. So basically, si lazima ujue kucode kabisa na Unreal iko na visual scripting language yake. So we kazi yako tu ni kuconnect nodes. Unajua, but lazima uelewe logic and all that problem solving. Juu programming it's never about the language. Programming is just about how can I solve this problem. That's a major thing programming is, and I think like tunakwanga na hii inaitangwa aje sasa, nitaitaje ni ile tu kwa akili watu ufikiria lazima nijue kuandika code nini, but if you know how to solve problems, programming is the easiest thing you can ever do. Like that's the only thing I can tell people who are scared of programming to do. Like it's just if you know how to solve shit, you can get into programming as easy as possible. Na siku hizi kuna so many visual scripting languages, si lazima ujue kuandika code. Wewe kazi yako unajua ni node unaziconnect na uko sawa.
Yep.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Is there a programming language unaweza recommend mtu ajifunze?
Okay, naweza recommend ni like wanaweza jifunza pick up Unreal. Iko na kitu inaitwa Blueprints, ni visual scripting language. Like ni rahisi sana, like nika tu unaweka tu node unaziconnect.
I think she's familiar with the nodes. Nodes, it's like you remember in Maya when you're texturing and then you plug a node.
yeah,
This node goes to this node. I think that's the same. I would say that's kind of the same visual programming. So
yeah, basically ni hiyo iko na
no, I was just saying, so it's basically like a bit less bulky than Unity, when it comes to
the only problem is the learning curve with Unreal, but I think these days it's easier because there is lots of content. When I was starting, it was hard to find like learning content for it. I think Arnold alinishow alikuwa na the same
issue.
You like ukianza, by the way, ikuanga tu like Unity iko na so much content. Unaenda tu YouTube unapata tu content ya kulearn. hiyo time yenye mimi nilikuwa naanza like shit sasa nitaanzia wapi, so learning curve ilikuwanga a bit harder, but uzuri ya nini until ukishashika umeshika, like it's easy once you already understand how everything works, it becomes easier.
Steve,
It's only that it has a
Steve anasema you have something to say about that. The Discord link is on the... Wait, you're on this server. You can just join the... You can join the... I think he's also a programmer. You can join the Millennial Talk voice channel, and I can add you as a speaker. Yeah, so Tevin, sorry, I was just replying to a comment on YouTube.
Yeah. So, but these days, you don't need to learn so much. Kisha pick up Unreal, wako na website yao, ana learning, so anakupeleka with your pace. Like, so it's much easier. Website yao tu ni unrealengine.com/learning. So ukipata hivyo unaenda like saizi it's much easier to learn because kuna so much content yenye unapitia.
And you failed to mention that Unreal is free by the...
Yeah.
Yes, Unreal is a free software
for
so,
all users.
Yep. The only caveat is when you start making money with your game, you give them a percentage of the profits, I think, if I'm not wrong. But that's for big devs, I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Once you make like was it a correct wrong, like a high price, so past that ndio wanaanza kucharge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's $1 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's $1 million. Okay. Million ndio wanaanza kusema manzi taking a percentage.
Yeah. Okay. That's friendly. I mean, we're in Kenya, man. Where are you making $1 million? Jesus, that's 100 million. Anyway, we never say never. You never know. Okay.
So by the time umefika hapo usha your back to this.
Yep. So it's like basically free, in short. It's like basically free for everyone because you just need to download the Epic Games launcher. I'm assuming if you're a gamer, you have it because, you're missing out on free games. Why don't you have Epic launcher? So, yes, it's free. You can find it there.
Na pia sasa wameka so many tools to support you. If you're not a good artist, but mostly ni okay, kuna za characters, sijui kama umesikia about humans.
Yeah, meta humans. There's I think I don't know. Linus Tech Tips did a video on it. It's basically a virtual human creator. So that's the thing with Unreal, man. They've been adding a lot of things zenye ni enticing to even filmmakers. Actually, if you don't know, The Mandalorian was parts of the set were made in Unreal because of the real time. The Unreal, game engines don't handle rendering the same way with 3D softwares. So for game engines, they can do it smoothly. So I saw like in The Mandalorian, they were projecting the environment using Unreal. Like the sets, some of the sets were projected. You can check it. It's a very interesting video. In fact, that guy who was doing it, who was helping them, I've been following him. He made like a knockoff version of a game engine called Cine Tracer. It's used to storyboard your films in 3D. But it's very interesting. Some of the things Unreal Engine are releasing. So yeah.
So like unaweza tumia hizo kama una art skills, unaweza tumia meta human upate character wako. Kama unataka kufanya environment art, unatumia inaitwa mega cans, ni for every Unreal user. So unaweza drop, we kazi yako ni like you can do like almost everything with it as easy as it's almost everything. Hata saizi vile Unreal 5 imetokea, nimeona pia stories za ku animate in game, ku rig in game,
Yeah, I saw that I saw that they added rigging and animation tools. Yeah, but it's becoming a serious. It's becoming a very serious software.
So hata modeling, hata kuna ya modeling, kuna plugins saizi za modeling wameka. So like saizi si lazima ulearn kama unataka kufanya game development. Okay, in the future, let's say 5 years, still lazima utakuwa ati unajua Blender, unajua Maya, unajua hizo stuff zote. Ni unafanya game, we kako fanya kazi yako hapo hivyo, and then story inaisha. So wanaanza kutoa hizi nini, like hizi dependencies ya that party programs.
Yeah, they're just making it easier for you as a dev to have the streamlined experience, because when you're moving from software to software, there are bound to be issues. So yeah, and they can really fuck up. A good example is when we were doing animation, and then I don't know, rootbone ulikuwa shinda ukiniambia sijui rootbone imefanya nini sijui nini sijui parent hiyo. There's a lot of Maya works differently, and then when you bring the rig over to Unity, it starts misbehaving. These are the things that you can avoid if most engines had everything inside of them. And I think it's like Blender, you can almost do everything in Blender. You can even edit videos in Blender, man. That's crazy, so it's just the way they're adding more features, it just makes it easier for someone starting out, and it's free. And if you've ever used 3D softwares, you know how damn expensive they are. Like a license for Maya is, I don't know, $500 a month or something. I'm not even sure. So I mean, even Adobe is expensive. So it just makes it easier for someone who's starting out to have an easier time when they are developing their game. But I think that's like Unreal Engine. What about Arnold? You're the Unity guy. What would you like to tell us about Unity?
It's not really about Unity per se, but it's mostly how we got into the whole game engine discussion was it's part of the pipeline. Like initially you have to check which engine is going to best serve the purpose of your game, right?
Yeah.
So if you can see the tools in Unreal are going to make it easier for you to make the game, you use Unreal. Because each engine has its own strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
As we've gone back and forth on it a lot, but we can just say generally, most people use Unity for 2D games, and then most people use Unreal for 3D games. So bits of pieces like that. So let's say Unity, I find it a lot easier to make 2D games.
Okay.
So that's what I would advocate someone to learn if they wanted to do 2D stuff. But it's still possible to make a 2D game in Unreal. It's still possible to make a 3D game in Unity. You can use different tools to achieve similar tasks. So just how you're going to streamline your pipeline in all that, right? So that's mostly the basics of it. Because I could advocate for Unity a lot, but then it's easier for you to make it in Unreal. Telvin could advocate for Unreal, but Unity could be easier for you. So it really depends on the amount of research you need to do in each engine and their strengths in your particular thing, right? So
Yep.
I think that's how you should look at it when it comes to the engine side of things. And then after that, after the engine is when now you continue with the pipeline of development.
And I think I would say it's the artist that defines the art, not the tool, right? 100% rule, 80-20. 20 is the tool you use, 80 is the skill, right? So if you're skilled, it's more about learning the skill, because if you learn the skill of making the game, these game engines are just tools for you to execute what you want. Just as Arnold has said, he can advocate more for Unity because he's used to 2D games and all that. It's the same way I would advocate more for Maya because it has this over Blender. You see, so it's an argument it's one of those things that you can argue for days and days and days. But at the end of the day, it's more about harnessing the skill of making a game, what makes a good level design, what makes good AI, what makes, these are the things you should be asking yourself. Instead of of course, I'm not going to say that the engine or the tool is not important. It is important. And you'll find that some of the softwares, and I'll say like a good example as to why I would say if you're choosing to learn animation, probably choose to do it in Maya over Blender, is you will find that Maya has decades of tools and like a tool set that makes your life easier when it comes to animation and rigging. So in that case, someone maybe who is very skilled at Maya and who already knows how to like work around the software, you'll find that he'll have a very quick time of, a good example is, I remember when we were working with Tevin and Arnold, and we were trying to integrate the mock-up animations from this site called Mixamo. I remember we chose to use Maya because it was easier to transfer the motion capture animation to a Maya rig than it was in Blender. Because in Blender, I remember I saw you had to install this plugin, and then I don't know you do what you see. So those are the things that maybe when we are talking about like sounds, like the software might be important in a way. Those are the things that you might encounter. You might find that this software is not doing this properly. Or like Arnold has said, maybe you might find that maybe there's maybe a particular quirk about Unreal Engine that is making it very annoying to make or to execute something that needs to be in 2D. So do your research. Right? Do your research, like just know more about know more about your end goal and what you exactly want to execute, so that you can have an easier time picking a software or picking a particular pipeline or when it comes to like developing your own games. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Arnold and Devin? Is there anything you would like to add on that?
Yeah, you're right. Because every is personal preference. Like, I can say this is the best tool, but not really. It doesn't blend with you well. So everything is just personal preference. But research is the most important thing you can do as a developer. Yeah, and knowing what you want to make also is really important. So if you have those two, I think it will be easier for you to even like go fast. You can just take this tool and then you can even make your own tool if you want, because that's even a possibility we haven't talked about. You can just say, okay, me don't like game engines. Let's make my own.
Yeah,
I don't like how they flow. Let me make my own. Because most people do that. Like people want to like, hey, my game, these game engines don't support the way I want to develop games. So let me make my own, and that will support how I want to develop games.
Would you give a good?
It boils down to personal preference.
And I would say if I was to give a good example of an in-house game engine is Frostbite from EA. I mean, you can find it publicly. Frostbite is not publicly available for game devs to use. So you see, if you got used to Unity and then you are to work in EA games, you see you'll have to be forced to learn Frostbite. But what changes is the tool, not the skill. The skill is tabaki by the. It's just that you have to find a way to navigate in that new tool you're using. So, and like Tevin has said, I don't know why EA chose to develop, to use Frostbite. But maybe there was someone in there was like, fuck it, hii Unreal, fuck this software, hii kitu inanifanyisha hii ujinga yote, unaona, na naweza fanya hivi na hivi, unaona. So maybe, and not only Frostbite, there's a lot of, I mean, even GTA, what engine does Rockstar Games use on GTA? Because they also use an in-house game engine. Let me see.
Yeah,
it's their own proprietary engine. Let me see. GTA 5 game engine. Let me just switch.
I think that one should be Rage.
Rage, yes, Rage. And you see, it's not publicly available, so it's not like that you can go there and download Rage and start using it. You see, so And you see, and you've seen GTA. You know, you've seen the quality of games that Rockstar Games can produce. So, like Tevin said, it's a matter of preference. If you can come up with your own game engine and make it work for you, at the end of the day, the consumer cares about the product. They don't care how it. Wewe ukibai nyama, wewe utaki kujua ng'ombe ilichinjwa, sijui ilienda ikasafa, sijui haikukula nyasi vizuri. Wewe ni nyama unao, you only see the end product. I don't know if that's a good example, but unfortunately most people only care about the end product. So if the game gets to them na iko sawa, well and good. You see Cyberpunk, what happened to Cyberpunk? You know, ilitokea ikakuwa so bad, people like bombed it with hate, and they also use their own proprietary in-game engine. So you see, and I don't think anyone talked about it. It's their engine's fault. It's this and that. You see, so people only care like about what they see, their experience. So whatever route you choose or whatever engine you choose, that's your own preference, right? So long as it can work and produce something that is feasible, something that someone can actually sit down and enjoy, good. Then do you.
On top of that, I don't think I don't think anyone will really want to come outright and blame the engine, because this is the same engine that created world-class games. Say, for example,
The Witcher.
Which one?
The Witcher.
The Witcher.
Yeah.
The Witcher is a perfect example. I was going to go all the way till Gwent, but The Witcher, all of it, all the Witcher games were really, really, really good. But now when you come to Cyberpunk, I actually played it for the first time. I was like doubting myself. Maybe I was like, maybe I need to get used to the game. After a while, everyone is saying it sucks. After a while, everyone is saying, this was such a waste of hype or something like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's basically because the idea behind the game or how it was supposed to come out was not well executed. And at the end of the day, you just have to think, okay, when you're making the game, you don't put yourself in a point of you have to make a game like another game that has done successfully, that has done a good job, and then start tweaking. Like for me, I felt like Cyberpunk was a GTA with so many things missing.
They were trying to replicate the GTA experience. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah, they're trying to replicate it, but with a different notion in mind, with like all these things about being futuristic and stuff like that. It was crap. I'll say it outright. It was a crap idea. If they wanted to do it way better, they would have probably focused on, like, say, one thing. If it's fighting, let it be a fighting game. If it's a racing, let it be racing. But don't be GTA if you can't do exactly what GTA had done. Another example is this guy's. I'm trying to remember this one game that was like GTA, but wasn't that much hype, but it was really good as well. It was called.
I think I remember. It was something. Watch Dogs, I think, yeah.
Watch Dogs, yes. Watch Dogs. Exactly. Watch Dogs was pretty much the same thing. But they executed it a little bit better than Cyberpunk have done it now.
Do you feel like... I think Cyberpunk would have benefited if it was not an open world. If it was locked, like you couldn't explore the environment, because most of the issues came from exploring.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It would have been better if it was like closed, if they focused like on one thing. If it's racing, let it be racing. If it's fighting, let it be fighting. Don't try and mix it, and don't try and make it open world. There are open world games that have really, really, really failed. A good example is like Mortal Kombat, for example. Remember Shaolin Monks in PlayStation 2?
Wait, Mortal Kombat have ever released like an open world game? Oh my fucking god!
Shaolin Monks, PlayStation 2, and then they reverted. Then they reverted it back.
That had to be the trashiest game. I can't picture Mortal Kombat being anything else other than Mortal Kombat.
It was really. It wasn't so bad. It's just that you see, at the point where you're trying to make a game from 2D style to a 3D style, it requires more intensive time. Yeah, it also requires an intensive machine. So at that point, when now Warner Brothers walikosa hizo vitu zote, you see, things just started falling apart for them as well, with the game and also with the guys who are playing the game.
In a time by risks, you have to take risks.
Yep.
Like what Cyberpunk did, they took a risk.
Failure.
Like in games, you can fail. You can fail hard and you can succeed hard.
Yep.
You never know. That's I think the thrill of especially game development. You never know because you put in all your effort, all this, and then to like, hey man, this shit. Yeah, this game is shit completely. It's not that you didn't try. It's not that the idea was like completely bad. It's only that sometimes games don't blend with players. It's good to take risks. That's what like I think we can learn from like Akina's CD Projekt Red. They took a huge risk. They didn't make like first person games. Like Ajay Jaribu like such a game. So like they took a big risk, and probability it goes well. There is a high probability it goes well. Yeah, it goes really bad. But that's the beauty and the curse of game development. It goes either way. You're never sure. And you have to be ready in your heart to fail. And pick yourself up and then continue going on.
I think to back up your point, Yako, is I just think not only game development, just creativity. You know, you can also be an artist. You want to make this fire song. You think it's good. And then you release it. You know, creativity is one of those unpredictable things. One day you make a hit, the other day you just make garbage. And you know, I would say failure is, don't look at failure as a bad thing. It's a learning process. Failure, if you fail, you just learn. It's simple as that, you know. And you know, and this is why, like I said, you need to actually, if you're interested in game dev, you need to actually be a nerd, you know, like learn more about the industry. Because you wouldn't, I'm pretty sure there's someone out there who wants to be a game dev and they don't even know like Cyberpunk was a thing that failed. You see, you need to be in the inner circle of your fellow gamers, you know, understand gaming as a whole, not only like game development, understand the mindset of the people playing the game. What do people want? There's a reason as to why Battle Royale is so addictive. Like, learn why is this game working, because Battle Royales, there was a lot that came out but some of them failed. I mean, Call of Duty was a good example. Their first Battle Royale trashed the I don't even remember what it was called, but when they came again with Warzone, it became a huge hit. And you see, and simply what changed, I think, was the game engine and the development team behind. So the team that was working on Modern Warfare was the one that made Warzone. So Raven Software, I think. So you see, it's all about learning, you know, just knowing what the industry demands of you as a game developer or as someone who wants to invest in game development. Just remember that this is like creativity is something that needs patience, structure, and passion. If you do not have all of these things, you're just wasting your time. Like, this is not like a money grab where you just come and throw your money and be like, oh yes, I want you guys to make Cyberpunk. I'm giving you fucking, I don't know, 10 million, make Cyberpunk within the next, I don't know what. You see? Like, it doesn't work like that. It never works like that. You have to sit down, be actually interested in the project, so that even when you're coming up with ideas, come up with ideas that fit the type of game that you want to make, because not all concepts work in every game. That's just something very important that I have to emphasize on. In terms of like learning game development locally, we've said you don't need a school, but I think I saw ADMI. Wait, you, Tevin and Arnold, do you guys like know, other than ADMI, do you guys like know any other school that people can learn 3D animation or game development in?
I can
Yeah,
tell
I
you
actually
one.
wanted to say that
You
there are not
actually
so
wanted
many
to say
schools
what?
like there are not so many schools that like have game development as a course. So if you guys know some.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this. If even as much as you'd go to school and learn these things about 3D animation, game dev, and all this,
Mm-hmm.
um, the best school is your experiences in the field, actually, because even okay, right now as an IT, I can tell you for a fact that most of the things that I do currently, because I come from a background of web development and just general software engineering, then game dev has been something that I've always been looking into from time to time. And I can tell you for a fact, none of these things, or let's say 90% of the things that I know, were not taught to me in school. Reason why that happens is because you can't, not everything can be taught, and they just want to touch on a few things here and then just leave you out to the world to just discover these things on your own. That's one problem that we have of like the world's educational system, because this is not just in Kenya. As much as even ADMI also does it, they won't do it to greater effect than any other college or university that teaches it. Nowadays, Harvard has come online and for a cheaper cost to learn these things, but also they don't teach it as advanced as you'd expect it to be. You know,
Yeah.
same thing for things to do with web development, graphic design, uh, things as simple as photography. There's a whole dynamic around photography that people don't really understand. Don't really. They just think it's just kufinya shutter and everything works like magic. And there are all these other different settings that people need to actually think about, like ISO, shutter speed, things like those. And there's always that extra dynamic that people need to actually look out for themselves. Um, if you don't actually have that urgency, that sense of urgency and the sense of patience to actually learn this, then that's what separates you from the other people who actually came from that school and now came to self-teach.
Yeah, but
So I
then
can say,
okay,
um,
continue.
I can say in terms of looking for a school, maybe yes, you're going to start with ADMI. But at the end of the day, that's not the place where you should be relying on.
Yep. Yeah, but then, like Steve has said, but then that's very true. I would say maybe, yeah, because obviously maybe it's your parents forcing you, and parents need a physical paper or something. Maybe if you are to enroll in a school, maybe just learn the design aside of it. But most of the things you learn on yourself. Like even for me, I'm not gonna lie, I dropped out of college and I turned out okay, and that's because most of the things that I know about 3D animation were self-taught. I would assume most of the things that Arnold and Tevin also know were also self-taught, and there's good sites out here where you can actually pirate or just download, or just even YouTube itself has a lot of free resources. You just have to have the drive, the passion, the drive to fail and learn why you failed at the first attempt. Just learning. If you don't have the mindset of learning in this particular field and the passion of it, it's going to be tough for you. You just have to have that willingness of being able to learn new stuff, being able to learn new software. Remember, and one thing I'll say by the way, this industry, and I would say, but in terms of IT, I've never seen a field where, so long as it's computer related, I've never seen an industry that changes so quickly, like anything related to computers. One day you're using this software, one day this software is obsolete. So that's why I'm saying you also have to always have a mindset of learning, because if you become stagnant and be like, oh, I'm not switching on this, you're just going to be left behind, right? So like I said, I think at DMI I've seen a couple of their things and I would recommend them if you want to learn. But remember, you can always teach yourself. There's YouTube, there's all of these sites, and I'm about to end the show because we're already past 1 hour. We're almost 12 minutes out of time. Like we're 12 minutes extending the show. But does any one of you have any concluding remarks? Arnold, Tevin. Maybe you can talk about what type of a computer, CPU specs. Because obviously if you're doing game dev, you need to know how to use a fucking computer. So, do you guys have any suggestions regarding the specs, the computer specs that people need to have?
For me, like, I think let's not say that, because najua watu wengi akisikia I need to have this machine inakwanga a reason not to start, inakwanga a reason not to start game development. Juu hata mimi, like, for some reason I was just waiting to have a good computer to do game development while in uni. Like, I was like, machine yangu easy handle. Like right now, not any machine, but
Wewe usimislead watu. Kuna watu wako na kuna watu wako na kotuduo kwa nyumba, usimislead watu.
But acha nikwambie ukweli, in all the softwares we have, there is a setting you set to handle like a low, okay, I don't know how to call it, but like ataka laptop yako iko shit aje, there is a setting. It will be slower. That's the only thing I can tell you. It will be slower, but you can still do it. Because if you just say, you actually nikwambia ukweli, ukishaambia say like, hey manze, I just need this particular machine.
Excuses.
Like,
you're just giving them a reason to get to make excuses.
Yes. Yes, that's just a reason to make excuses. So whatever you want, you just start. I just tell people, just start. Starting is the first step, and so I have to learn all that bit. If like say, hey, me, whatever knowledge I have, by next gen, ningekuwa useless. Hakuna mtu anataka kunihire because my skills are not relevant anymore. So yeah, you're being open to learn and also just taking the first step. You know, it's hard, but ukisha sema umeanza. That's the only thing you need to push to, and then open to learn. Boom.
Okay, it's fine. I think but kuna time nilikuwa na cut out. Sorry, I'm sure you guys who are watching the live stream may notice. But remember, the show is always on Spotify. So if you want to listen as you travel, you know. Yeah, and thanks, I think Arnold has left, but thanks Tevin for coming through. Thanks Steve for coming through. Thanks Arnold for coming through. I think I've mentioned him. Two Sugars No Milk. But the Two Sugars is in Malaysia studying because she was in EduLink. There's a school called EduLink. I think if you study 3D animation and Ukipita, and if you're financially okay, they can take you to one of their foreign campuses, if I'm not wrong. Is that the case, Two Sugars? Maybe you're interested out there, you want to go out. That's how it works, eh?
Yeah, basically, like what you can choose to continue with animation or just basically doing game development, and yeah.
Okay. So you can also check EduLink out if you're interested. But let me shout out the people in the comments. Radson, Frankenstein, Steve ako hapa already. Lance anasema sometimes games get released in the wrong time, e.g. Titanfall releasing in between Battlefield and COD. A good example. This is why I'm saying, by the way, if you're interested in fucking game development and you're not on Discord, you have a problem. This Discord is where you should be. This is where you will meet your fellow gamers. This is where you will meet your fellow, like, Discord is one of those community driven apps that can really benefit you. So please make it an effort for you to be on Discord and join our Discord server. The link is in the description box if you want to chat with all of these wonderful people who we were chatting with today. Cherisi anasema go Steve. I agree. So Steve, I hope umesikia. Also, there are people listening in on Discord. Again, I can see Lumi, Mjaka, Lance, Emperor, Yvette, Tuko Salamanca, who is one of our co-hosts. Na Tuko alisema bedhe hiyo Mortal Kombat ilikuwa role playing, haikuwa like open world, and I think I don't know what he meant exactly, but I can also see Joe Bio. Ate ako hapo kwa listeners. Nilikuwa nimeona Caroline earlier. There were some people popping in and out. Temblon was also in. Alikuwa on the last show. But yeah, thanks all of you guys for coming through. Again, I would love for you to destroy that like button. Feed this YouTube algorithm if you know that this show can benefit anyone else out there. I would very appreciate it. I very much appreciate it if you were to destroy the like button so that the video can get recommended to other people. You can also share the video on your socials or just people who are interested in this particular thing. I don't think anyone else has anything else to say. Also, nimeona Red Pins pop in late kama. But yeah, I think tutapatana in the next one. Peace out.